Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel, and it's time for another hard rock and heavy metal update. It's been a while. I apologize for that. No real reason for it other than I just haven't been making videos lately, but I do have a couple queued up after this, but I'm going to be doing a really cool thrash video, so keep an eye out for that. I hope to have that up by the end of the week, so that one will be a lot of fun. But let's just kind of jump in. Take a look at some of the stuff I've been spinning lately. I don't think I've bought any of this within the last 3 or 4 months. A lot of this stuff has just been sitting in the inbox and I hadn't gotten to it. I briefly showed this album when I did that video with Scott Waters. We did that live stream with Scott Waters and Nathan. And I just kind of showed this as we were talking about deals getting harder to find. And I was really surprised to run across this. I paid under $10 for this. It's the vinyl's in mint condition, but this is inside the Electric Circus from Wasp. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I'm a big Wasp fan. I've liked pretty much everything that Blackie's released. This one's no exception. It was a lot of fun throwing this one in and giving it a spin again. It's been years since I've heard this album, but there you go. And actually, since we're on the Wasp topic, I have another one in here. Give me a sec. This one I got to thank John, SMF Captain Howdy, for. This has been on my want list for years, but you can't find them for under $200. And John ran across this bootleg of Still Not Black Enough. I think I paid $25 or $26 shipped. I think it was from Spain. I don't know if you could see the crow on the album cover there. And I was looking at this, and it looks like somehow whoever pressed this got a hold of the original stampers, because it looks like it's the original stampers with the matrix scratched out of it. Really, really good sound quality. It sounds great, and I've always thought that this was a really good and very underrated album. So keep an eye out for this, and it looks exactly the same as the original, with the exception of those matrix numbers being scraped out. So definitely worth picking up. You know, I wish you know, they've been doing a good job of repressing a lot of their earlier stuff, and I don't know why they've missed that small window in the 90s with this album and KFD and a couple of the live albums, but I'm really glad to have that in the collection, even if it's a bootleg. Next up, this is another one I picked up for $7 or $8 at one of the local half-price books in Atlanta. I was really surprised to run across this. This is 3 Warnings from Oz. Without a doubt, their second best album. I can't think of the name of their second album off the top of my head, but it's definitely one of probably the top 20 metal albums from the 80s, and this album would be probably ranked higher too if it didn't follow that. Their second album was absolutely amazing. This one is not as good as that one, but it does definitely show glimpses of that second album. Still definitely worth having in the collection. Honestly, these are the only 2 Oz albums I think worth having. I think their first one was not good at all, and I don't really like anything that they put out after that. But these 2 albums they just found that kind of that perfect sound, and this is another great example of why, especially for metal and a few other genres, collecting vinyl is really important. This has never been repressed. This one, I don't even think this one is on CD. I know it's on. I know it's on cassette, and if it is on CD, they may have done one press, but I'm pretty sure that's never been released on CD as well. So next up, I'm just picking these up as I see them. I've got all the Motorhead stuff through the 90s. Through the early 90s on CD, but I've never had most of them on vinyl. So as I run across these represses, I've been grabbing them. This one's Overkill, 79, I think. Yeah, 79. I love the early Motorhead. These represses sound really good. I do recommend picking them up if you don't already have nice original pressings. I picked these up. I've actually got 3 or 4 of them that the others I just haven't got around to listening to yet. But half price books had them for like $21.99, and then they dropped it to like $16.99 and $15.99, and finally for $11.99. Once they hit $11.99, I bought copies of everything that they had, other than what is it, Live at the Hammersmith, which I have an original UK pressing of. So, but Overkill. Next up, a little bit of Crucified Mortals. I have to thank Eric Dust for this. He sent this out to me a few months back. I have listened to it a bunch of times. It just happens to be out because I was just listening to it again. And just a really cool thrash. I think this is 2011. And technically this is the debut LP from Crucified Mortals. But they've been around since 2001 or 2002. And I say they, it's actually he, really. But Crucified Mortals is... originally he went by Craig Horville, his name, obviously. Around the time of this, and maybe a little bit before this, he started going by Reaper. You can actually see Reaper. He is on, Heavy Metal Relics, the Heavy Metal Relics channel. Here in the vinyl community. Really cool channel. Highly recommend checking it out. They do some they're doing some cool room tours from other musicians, and doing some really good best of type of lists. You know, best of German thrash, best of what was the other one they did? Swedish death metal. Just some really cool stuff. I've liked all their videos so far. So definitely check those out. But again, Crucified Mortals. If you're into, there's a little bit of Slayer influence here, but I definitely hear some Rigor Mortis, maybe a little bit of Deceased, who I think they've done a split with. But really good thrash, and I really like this artwork. And Crucified Mortals has a new album that just came out a few months ago. I haven't picked it up yet. But it's on Hell's Headbangers, so I recommend checking that one out. I have checked it out. I really like it. I just haven't grabbed a copy yet. So, but I'll put a link down below. If you guys aren't on subscribed to Heavy Metal Relics, I definitely recommend doing that. This next one I pulled out because of John, Bitbop Boom. He did a video of AC/DC sounding bands, I guess, top 10 AC/DC sounding bands. And one of them he brought up was Rose Tattoo. Now the thing with Rose Tattoo is Rose Tattoo came up alongside AC/DC. And I've seen reviews. Actually, there was a real famous statement about Rose Tattoo where they said Rose Tattoo was more AC/DC than AC/DC was. They were definitely... a little harder, a little punkier. It was probably the best way of putting it. They came up from the same club scene, same producer, same manager, if I remember correctly. So, you know, they're not really an AC/DC sound-alike band. I would say both bands kind of cultivated their sounds from each other. So, but this is my favorite of the Rose Tattoo albums. But you can't go wrong with any of their albums. Great band. If you run across copies of them, grab them. I don't see copies of Rose Tattoo very often. When I picked that up a year or two ago, that's the only time I've ever run across Rose Tattoo on vinyl. Next up, these again, I grabbed at Half Price Books probably 5 or 6 months ago. I mentioned a couple years ago when the 7 inches got repressed here in the U.S. that I really had it. Though I do like 7 inches, I prefer 12-inch singles. And I mentioned that I would much rather spend the money on the 12-inch UK pressings than all the US 7 inches that are between $9 and $15 where you bought them. But first up, what is this EP called? 4 tracks, 2 live tracks. So you've got Sanctuary, Prowler, Drifter, and I've Got the Fire. Next up, you've got the Run for the Hills. And again, these were, I don't think these were ever U.S. pressed. I think that all of these are UK, the 12 inches, if I remember correctly. But I found all of these. They had a few more, but they just weren't in good condition. I didn't spend more than 10 or 11 bucks a piece on these. But this is Run to the Hills, Phantom of the Opera, and Lost for Words. And Lost for Words is at the Hammersmith, as is Phantom of the Opera. I love Phantom of the Opera. Killer song. And then, last but not least, you got Running Free, Sanctuary, and Murders in the Rue Morgue. Next up, I was real late to this one. I didn't actually get this one until January of this year. And it was just about a month ago before I finally gave it a spin. And now they have a new album out that I can't wait to get. But this is Stand in the Fire from Stryker. Just a killer album. If you haven't checked out Stryker, I highly recommend checking them out. I haven't heard a bad thing from this band. Canadian metalers. And this one, unfortunately, I don't know if you can see it. The corner got bashed in shipping. And I kind of... It was my fault. I knew what it was when the box came, and the box sat there for like 2 months before I even opened it. And by the time I opened it, I had already passed Amazon's return time. That, you know, I think they give you 20 or 30 days to return damaged items. And because I never got around to opening it, I'm kind of stuck with it. The vinyl is fine. Sounds amazing. Again, highly recommend checking out Stryker. I can't wait to check out their new album. I've heard nothing but good things, but I'm waiting for it to pop up somewhere here in the U.S. The Canadian pressings with shipping is just too much money. Next up, this is one I've been on the lookout for a while. If I remember correctly, this is the second album from this band. I'm a huge fan of these guys. This is one of the early crossover bands. If you're not familiar with the crossover bands, they were basically hardcore bands that kind of went the thrash route. And this has always been a favorite of mine. This is Bomb, or Beast on My Back, from Crumbsuckers. The album before this is my favorite, and then just recently one of the labels put out a 2 or 3 album comp with all of their EPs, which is a really good listen because it starts with their hardcore punk stuff and moves to the thrash, and you can really kind of hear their transition. But whether it's their hardcore stuff or their thrash stuff, Crumbsuckers are a great band and definitely worth checking out. This one is Back on Black. Pretty good sounding pressing. It's on yellow vinyl. And then last but not least, this is a band I'm really late to. I've been hearing people talk about this band, talking very highly of this band for years now. Scott Waters has kind of put the bug in my ear to check these guys out for a while. And I was watching everybody's top 10 list, and almost everybody listed this in their top 4 or 5 albums. And it's a killer album. So I was looking around on eBay. No, I'm sorry, not eBay. On Amazon, and I saw that Earache, I believe it's Earache, right? Yeah, Earache had it on sale for $10. So unfortunately, it came from Europe, so it took a month and a half to get it. But I did finally get it, and for $10, I can't complain. It does have a little bit of a seam split right there, but again, I paid $10 for it. This is Terminal Redux from Vector. Just killer technical thrash. I love the artwork. This would be a perfect thrash album for me, if not for the 2 songs. I believe there's 2 songs where the singer uses clean vocals, and it just kind of kills the album for me. Other than those 2 songs, though, the rest of the album is perfect. Just an amazing album. Highly recommend checking out if you're into technical thrash or progressive thrash, whatever you want to call it. Really, really good album, though. And then in the background, we're listening to Redefined Mayhem from Holy Moses. Holy Moses is just a killer thrash band from the 80s. Female-fronted thrash, and what really made them stand out was their vocalist back in the 80s. Even on their first couple albums, she was just as aggressive as the guys. which I really liked. You didn't see that from a lot of the female-fronted bands back in the 80s, and these guys really stood out because of it. And they're still touring. This is from 2014. Killer album, definitely worth picking up. And they're still touring, too. I think Renee in Spain just mentioned that he went and saw them and that they were really good. So keep an eye out for them. Any album, I've heard 5 or 6 of their albums. I've got 4 of them now. And I love everything that they've ever released, so definitely check them out. That's it, VC. Again, I'll be doing a really cool thrash video pretty soon. Other than that, take care, and I'll see you soon, VC.